So happy to be joined by my next guest. It's been a while, but really excited to talk to Macy Chiasson. She's going to be back in action. Ketlen Viera, UFC Vegas 107, May 31st. Macy, how's it going?
Doing great, man. Just finishing up camp. It's gone beautifully, which is not an easy thing to say all the time, right? Especially with injuries that occur and all that stuff. But it's been an amazing camp. I feel like I've been getting ready for this fight for an entire year.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, because you were supposed to fight in Seattle. We were just talking about that off camera. What happened? Was it just an injury? Like, you don't have to give me the whole lowdown, but what took you out of that fight?
Well, I had a calf injury, a pretty severe calf injury.
Okay.
I wasn't able to walk or put any weight on the ball of my foot. And we were going to try to work through it. The problem with that was that my physician said it's possible I could have had a complete tear
Oh, damn. Okay.
my Achilles,
Yeah.
because it was the lower calf. And it was the same calf that I actually tore my left calf before the Aldana fight back in the
damn.
way.
Okay. So you got to be careful about that stuff. Was the plan always to rebook the fight, or was there ever talk of fighting anyone else?
Yeah, so a few weeks before the fight, I was starting to have some trouble, and we actually got an MRI and reached out to the UFC doctor and got some medical opinion. Um, and this is a fight that I've been wanting for a long time. You know, we
Right.
were supposed to fight last year in January or February, and she had to pull out because she had a meniscus tear, I believe.
Mhm.
And that's when they booked me with Pena
Mhm.
last year. And so we really wanted this fight. So we talked to Mick, and Mick was able to, it wasn't a guarantee,
Mhm.
they were going to try and replace, but this division, like, we want to keep it rolling. And I think Mick and Dana White do as well. So we were really blessed and fortunate to be able to rebook.
Yeah, and let's talk about Ketlen. 14-4 record. Actually put up a pretty good fight in her last one against, I think the Kayla Harrison was the last one. Looked good in that fight. How do you feel like your style kind of matches up against hers here?
I think my style matches up against her great. She's super tough. She's pretty big for the 35 division. And I was actually there in person for the fight in Utah between her and Kayla Harrison.
That's right. Yeah.
And I was actually very impressed with how she kind of survived a lot of what Kayla was bringing forth. And Kayla is just a girl, very physical, big, judo background. Ketlen, judo background. She knew how to stuff a lot of the takedowns against the cage. Open cage wrestling was pretty difficult for her because Kayla has a lot of power, anaerobic power threshold. And so I just think with this fight, I just feel like I have a lot more of an MMA IQ in order to take, if we're going to stand up super long. Kayla was, jabbing the hell out of Ketlen, and Kayla's significantly shorter than Ketlen, has a shorter, significant reach. And I just think utilizing that jab, a lot of feints, disrupt rhythm, feint stalls, tempo shifts, breaks, to kind of break her comfort zone, staying in the void and just move with no hesitation, being super present, mastering uncertainty, comfort and chaos, and then winning with the mind. I mean, for me at this point in my career, after being in the UFC for 7 years, and I've basically, I've grown up here. I got into the UFC when I was 3-0. I had a lot of learning to do, and I just feel like I'm kind of in that space now where I feel like I'm maturing, and my mindset is really what's been so important. If you mentally dominate, the physical battle is already won.
Yeah.
Those counters come mid-flow, not from waiting. Knowing when not to move is just as important as knowing when to move, and watching that fight in person in Utah was really validating. And
Good.
I just feel like I've just been peeling back the layers for an entire year now against Ketlen. I think it's going to be a tough fight. I'm expecting it to go 10 minutes, but it's hard to say that in MMA. You never know, right? So I always give it a 50-50 chance of anything that, anything can happen.
And of course, you're always going to have a good game plan because you got one of the best coaches in the game, Saif Saud. How are things going at Fortis? Who are you working with? Take me through sort of camp leading into this fight.
So obviously Coach Saif, working with him every day. Coach Bird, he's my main striking coach. He's really helped me develop my stand-up skills over the last few years. And he's just such an impressive person, very smart, Obviously fought in the UFC. Charles Bird's
Contender Series winner. Yeah, we remember him.
Yeah. He has this amazing movement and just understanding of Muay Thai, kickboxing, and he's a great wrestler too. So he understands like MMA on a full level, you know. Also, we have Carlos Fajeda that actually just moved here to Texas, and he's
finally. I was gonna say, because he always made that drive. That was always so tough. I couldn't believe he did it for so long.
Yeah, well, he's still making a drive.
Yeah.
Every week. So him and his family are in the process of moving.
Oh, good. Okay.
From northern East Texas, West Texas.
Yeah, I don't know. I know it's like an 8-hour. Isn't it like an 8-hour drive or something?
Like a 7 or 8 hour drive. It's insane. Yeah.
But I imagine he's a good coach, like just with all his experience and everything, right?
Oh my God, he's amazing. I mean, he honestly, like, if I were to say out of our entire team, I fangirled the most over Diego.
Okay.
He's just so impressive, like just watching his fights and his scrambles and his nonstop understanding of like, and he's had knockouts too. I mean, he was at one point in the UFC like a huge like competitor.
Yeah.
And his fights are always super exciting. He actually trained with Ketlen quite a bit, I think back in Brazil at some point. But I've actually been working with him multiple times a week, getting great jiu-jitsu rounds in with him, MMA rounds. So he's been an unbelievable addition to the team. You know, he's fought at a high level in the UFC. He's an amazing coach. He was a gym owner. You know, he's running our program now at Fortis MMA. So it's really awesome to have him a part of the team. And he's so humble. He's like such a nice guy.
I know.
He's such a sweet guy, but he's such a badass, and I just love it. And I just feel everything's kind of like coming into fruition right now. So it's been amazing.
Great. Did he retire, or is he still competing? Because I know he doesn't fight that much.
Yeah. He's not retired. No,
okay,
he's
gotcha.
not retired.
Okay. That's cool.
I believe he's thinking about trying to get another fight in the UFC.
Yeah.
He's been competing a lot in jiu-jitsu. So, but he's very much like, I mean, super healthy. I think he's almost 40, but he's in mad shape. I don't think his career is quite over yet, but maybe getting close. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting to know. How about the weight cut? You know, I know you seem like you got 35 homed in right now. Everything seems to be good. How's all that going ahead of the fight? Because I know you've kind of it's been an evolution for your weight cut. Let's put it that way, right?
Yeah, it's been an evolution, and honestly, it's because I just, you know, when I got into the sport, it was hard to find the right people to listen to. You know, when I was up and coming in MMA, it was kind of like the same thing with like high school wrestling, like let's just not eat, let's just run in a trash bag type shit, you know. And I just feel like over the years, you know, I've had to work really hard on staying consistent with some things, you know. And a lot of the time it was really because I had low energy availability. I wasn't eating enough food, you know. And it's very opposite of what you would think. I'm burning 3,000 calories a day, but I'm only trying to get in 1,500, you know. Especially for women, I mean, the hormonal imbalance and what you can do to your hormones and your gut and your body, it can really end up just counterintuitive, you know? So I have a great team that I've been working with. I'm working with a functional doctor now that's doing some amazing work with me. He's got me on the right supplementation for my body. He's done all of these like massive like gut protocols, blood work tests, urinary analysis. So I'm really working with some of the best, and my weight is amazing. I mean, I feel strong. I feel healthy. I don't feel like I'm starving. I'm definitely not weak, you know? So, you know, I just feel like I just needed time to figure it out and just work with the right people. And that's so important. And I just feel like a lot of people don't talk about that enough, you know? But it's a little bit harder for women. We just have to mind our P's and Q's and really be on our shit.
Yeah, it doesn't get talked about enough, I think, with the women fighters because, and like you mentioned, the hormones and all this different stuff. Because there's so many women, if you look at the UFC, have had issues with weight cutting, and people just assume, you're not doing the right things. But there's the hormones, there's the guts. Like I've talked to so many fighters, and it's like it's definitely a thing that I don't think gets highlighted enough. And good to hear that you found the solution for it on your end, which is great. Your corner, Safe will be there. Who else is going to be in the cage with you for this one?
Safe's going to be there for sure. He's wearing the mic. You know, he has to. He's got to get his words in.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And then Charles Bird, my striking coach, is going to be there. And then I have I have my buddy Terrell, who's been kind of my main training partner for this camp.
Oh, cool.
He's been my main guy for. He's a 35er as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just a great training partner. He knows the exact look to give me, the exact intensity, and there's 100% guarantee that he's never going to hurt me.
Yeah. That's true too. Yeah.
Guys that can like beat me up and like whoop my ass, but is not going to tear my ACL, is not going to cut me.
Mm-hmm.
And is going to give me the right look. So I've been working with him for the past 2 years now. So he helped me through both of my camps last year.
Nice. That's great.
Yeah.
You mentioned it there. This is probably going to be a war that may go to the scorecards. How do you see the fight unfolding?
Like I said, I just need to weaponize that emptiness, and I just need to really hone into the mental side of it, because physically I've been working for this fight for an entire year, and I just, at this point, everything feels like intuitive. So it's a possibility we go 15 minutes. And then, like I said, like MMA is such a 50-50 sport. I mean, you never know. Could be a round, could be second round. But I'm looking for her to bring her absolute best. I mean, she's a tough opponent. She's been in the top 5 for a long time for a reason. I have the absolute utmost respect for these women, especially her. She's been through some wars, and I just expect her to be in her best behavior.
Does this get you a title shot? You're right up there. You've been on this win streak. I know there's maybe another name or two that could be in the mix, but we haven't really heard of like the winner of Pena and Harrison yet. Do you feel like, especially if you get a finish, that could get you that title shot?
I think getting a finish for sure is going to put me up, put my name in the air. And I'm not rushing. I would love a title shot, of course, right?
Yeah.
But I want to earn my spot. I want to earn, and I want these people to know that I deserve to be in the top 5, and it just kind of no matter whoever is put in front of me, we're able to handle that, to the best of our ability. And yeah, I mean, I would love a title shot, but I also want what the UFC wants. I love Mick. I love Dana. I love fighting. I want to be the best. I want to prove to be the best. And, there's a possibility that I win this fight. They may put me against Norma again. That's a possibility.
Yeah, that's the only other name I thought of. Because, Miesha Tate lost a few weeks ago. I think that was maybe one name just because she's a former champ that they might throw in the mix. But like I said, I'd pretty much you and Norma, I think, at this point, unless they decide to do a rematch. But
yeah. So, and I beat Norma split decision a few years back at 45.
Yeah.
So it's not, I don't want to say, like I deserve this or I should have this.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I'm definitely starting to think ahead. Okay, this might be, it might be possible. We end up doing a fight night, or we do a 5-rounder, to see who's going to be the next contender. I could definitely see that happening. I could also maybe see them giving me a chance. So we'll see.
Yeah, there's a lot of implications on this fight. Now, I got to ask the obvious question. You win this fight, you come out relatively unscathed. If the title shot's not next, 318, New Orleans. I mean, is that a card when I saw that card, you were one of the first. Obviously, you think of Poirier and some other fighters, but I mean, how big would that be? Because I don't know if people remember, you're from Louisiana. You just train in Texas.
I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Yeah, exactly.
It's literally my city. My parents still live there. That's where my original gym was. I've been raised there my entire life. And when I heard that New Orleans UFC card was going to be in the mix, I was like, damn it. Injury, maybe if I would have fought in February, we would have definitely fought in July, and those are things that are just kind of out of our control and we can't really think about it. Right. But, I honestly would love to go right back into a camp.
Okay.
It is actually one of my favorite things to do. Okay. Last year I went fight to fight. And I just love it because my body's already tuned and in shape, and it's just about keeping it right where it is. And it's one of my favorite things to do. I would absolutely love to do that in July. I just don't know who would be able to take that. I think that's 7 weeks.
Yeah, it is. That's the only problem is it is cutting it close, right? So that you'd have to find someone that's game to do it. But
girls at 35, they need a little bit of time to cut. I mean, most of these women really do. Like a 6 or 7 week call out or whatever, or fight to book. It's a little soon. If they could do it, I would love to do it. If not, I still would love to be there. So
well, at the very least, you got to be in the crowd or something. They got to have you there for that one.
And then also that title fight's the week after me.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, okay, like if you guys need like a backup person
Yeah.
to weigh in on the scale,
Mhm.
maybe we'll be around. But
Okay. Well, yeah, yeah. So Kayla and Julianna Pena is June 7th, 316. Who do you see winning that fight?
um Pena is absolutely like insane. Like
Mhm.
I just feel like her mindset is like unwavering.
Mhm.
And Kayla is a very intense, powerful person. Even if she does get Pena down, I don't see Pena folding,
Mhm.
because I mean, she really with her fights with Amanda, I mean, even her fight with Raquel in Utah, I mean, I watched her get switch head kicks so hard, like you could hear it all the way across the arena,
Mhm.
and she just had this like stone cold look in her eyes. So I think the mindset of Pena is what is like her absolute best weapon. She's a dog.
Mhm.
And I think her jujitsu is a lot better than what people expect and think. So I'm curious to see how, if and when Kayla gets her down, like what she's going to do with that.
Mhm.
So, hopefully she's working on a lot of reversals. And I'm hoping that Pena is going to utilize a little bit of range with Kayla too.
Okay.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't want to completely give you a direct answer because I think they both have different types of strong suits about them.
Mhm.
But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Kayla did come through.
Okay.
She's big, she's strong, and I just think if Pena can really keep her at bay and utilize her strikes and work on her reversals, that she's gonna come up on top. I mean, she's had a lot of 5-rounder fights against some really, really amazing women in the UFC.
Okay.
So we'll see.
That's fair enough. So if Kayla does win, how do you feel like your style matches up against hers? That would be my question.
So obviously she's gonna try to wrestle.
Mhm.
And I feel like some of my last fights have been a little bit quick. I haven't really been able to show off a lot of my striking skills that I've developed over the past years.
Mhm.
And also my wrestling. I've been working with my wrestling coach, Kyle Crutchmer. He's OSU alumni,
Mhm.
uh, All-American, absolute freaking stud wrestler. We've developed quite a game of wrestling with him. And I just think like my all around MMA, I want to be one of those people like and since the beginning of MMA, like when I got into my career, that I didn't want to just be good at one thing. I wanted to be mediocre and then almost like a little bit better than that at everything.
Mhm.
Because it's just opportunities present themselves in MMA in all kinds of ways.
Mhm.
So, just like Bueno Silva cutting her open, right?
Yeah.
Panty taking it back. Like jujitsu's there, the striking's there. So I think if I can continue to develop my game and have a good strong suit in wrestling, defense, offense, I feel like I could 100% beat her. It's
Okay.
just getting through that mental part of her being just so big, and she's actually muscular. She's big, but she's not a very big person
Right.
and it's just about minding my P's and Q's. And I just think if I stay in that mindset, I really don't believe that there's anyone in the world that can beat me.
Talked to multiple people about this. They don't think that Kayla is going to be fighting at 135 for very long because it is such a tough cut for her. What do you make of that theory?
They're correct. I have a direct source, obviously,
Okay.
that works really closely with her. And for most of us women, like just because we can make 35 does not mean we should.
Right.
You know, um, even though like I'm in a more leaner, better shape of my life right now,
Hmm.
I still have to cut 15 pounds that week,
Yeah.
sometimes 16. So, uh, and I know that she's going through something similar, and that's really what's so destructive about it is because it's that last little bit that you need to get off that people don't think about that is shocking your hormones. It's messing up your microbiome. It's messing up everything, going on with inside your body, and it's mentally taxing.
Hmm.
And the more you do that to yourself, the harder and harder it is. And we're also getting older, right? We're in our 30s and it's a little bit harder to get off.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, they're absolutely right. I don't think she'll be able to make it maybe one or two more times at most, and that's coming from a direct source, someone that cares about her, you know. So I actually see Kayla winning the belt at 35 and maybe fighting Amanda at 45 because Amanda looks like she's kind of bulking up right now.
Hmm. It's an interesting. Yeah, we'll see. There's a lot of stuff going on in women's MMA right now, so that we'll have to keep tabs on how that goes. Okay, before we go, I don't know if you caught it last weekend. Did you see Jack Della Maddalena beat Bilal Muhammad? I don't know if you caught it or saw the highlights.
Yeah,
What did you think of his performance?
He's actually someone that I would look up to as far as like just being kind of good at everything. You know, like he has the striking, he has the wrestling defense, he has the wrestling, he's got the knees, the elbows. And it's cool to see someone like that just absolutely dominate, you know. And Bilal is such a tough person. He's such a nice guy. And man, it really showed a lot of heart out of Bilal in that fight.
Yep.
And I think he'll come back stronger. But yeah, Jack is an absolute savage.
Love it. Macy, great catching up with you. Glad to see this fight get rebooked May 31st, UFC Fight Night. Anyone you want to thank before we get out of here? Sponsors, social media, anything like that? Yeah. I'll give you the last word.
I want to thank my sponsor, Glenn Within Functional Performance. And they have been such a major asset to everything that I've been doing. My body feels like it's performing, at the best of its ability at this point. And I feel like just from here on out, working with these guys, it's going to get better and better. I want to thank Fortis MMA for always having my back and being there for me. Obviously, Eric Pena with the nutrition. And I want to thank you for having me on the show.